NASCAR Truck Series racing is usually all about being tough, and tonight we're going to take a step away from that and get a glass of wine. Welcome to the Napa Valley in California and Sonoma Raceway, where we turn left and turn right tonight on the 2-mile, 12-turn course just outside of Sonoma. Kyle Heyer joined by Connor Horn tonight for the 6th round of the 2024 Season 6 area season. Connor, this is a unique challenge. This is the only time this season we'll go road racing, and this is going to bring a whole different skill set to the point here. And this is a special night for those that can capitalize on the road course.
Yeah, it'll be pretty important for all those drivers who are probably, there's a lot of drivers that can run pretty good on ovals, but there are a few drivers that can really conquer this track in Sonoma. Guys like Ricky Springer, you'll see at the front. You'll see Jake Nichols, you'll see Seth Knoll, who were at the front last night competing for this win around this 12-corner circuit. Drivers maybe you'd expect to see, like Sebastian Mayer and Travis Beckner, maybe guys like Trey Eitz and Reese Schaefer, some guys that are inside the top 10 in practice that might not be as fast on the ovals. You'll see these guys competing tonight. It's a whole different challenge from what we saw last night. There's no tire wear in the Cup cars as we saw last night. Still hasn't been fixed. But tonight, you're going to see drivers all over the track. The rear tires are going to be lit up this entire 40-lap race, and you're going to be crying for tires after probably 8 laps. You got to go much longer than that to get to your pit stop. We will be taking sticker tires tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be a tricky evening. It was last night in the Cup Series stuff as well, but I think even more so in the trucks. They're making lap times that are effectively as fast as the Cup Series cars were, but they don't have the downforce. They don't have the suspension stiffness that the Cup cars do, nor do they have the brakes. And one of the key factors we'll be keeping an eye on tonight, Connor, is wheel hop. Watch this. Entering turn 4, for example, watch the rear wheel bouncing up and down like a basketball on the surface. You see it locking, unlocking, bouncing around. That is going to be something that you'll be fighting all evening long, trying to keep this truck under control.
And everyone's going to be fighting it. Everyone from the front to the back. You're going to be struggling, not only in that corner, but you got the heavy braking zone in the hairpin in turn 11. Up the top of the hill, you'll have some heavy braking, turn 7 to be exact. And then who knows what's going to happen in the S's. You're going to be all over the place, sliding the rear out. That's going to be a trouble spot as well, as we can see the top 10 in practice. Pretty tight between the top 4 or so, 3/10 separating first from fourth. That's pretty tight for a road course, and only a second from Sebastian Mayer, the Cup Series winner last night. Again, Seth Knoll down in 10th. So there's a number of drivers who are going to be really trying to fight to get that perfect Q lap in. Track position on this start is going to be very important.
Yeah, track position was important last night as well, and it was really the Solar Flare teammates that ran away with it last night. Are we expecting to see dominance of that level? I think we all in the booth collectively picked each of the top 3 as our picks. It seems like it might not be quite so clear tonight.
I don't know if it'll be as clear, but I think you'll still see those guys up at the top. There's guys like JT Poole, Rafe Slade, guys outside the bubble in practice, that I think can be up there, but we'll just have to wait and see. We have another 42 truck field, so it's going to be very, very tough to get through this circuit. But one thing that we really didn't see as far as strategy last night is that an undercut. You really couldn't undercut. If you pit early as one of the front runners, you weren't really able to make that work because you'd just be back with the drivers who were slower than you, and the tires were even. It's not like you got a tire advantage because we weren't taking tires. Tonight, I think we might see drivers try a little bit of an undercut. We'll see different strategies because there is tire wear. We'll probably see 3 to 4 seconds worth of tire wear tonight, and that's really all from the rear tires just losing grip. You can see right there, even out of, I guess you call that 4 in real life, but I don't agree with that.
What would you call it?
It's not 4. You go 4 to 7. Come on.
Well, it's 7 because you see the long course. 4 is a corner a little bit further up the straightaway. Then turn 5 is the carousel. 6 is the right-hander at the that rejoins the short course, and 7's the hairpin. So you just go turn 4 to 7. I suppose you could argue that 3 is actually 2 or 3 different corners all in itself. But Sonoma is not known for having the most sensible numbering conventions.
No, it's pretty annoying. But even then, at 4, you'll still see drivers lighting up the rears there. That'll be a trouble spot with that wall jutting out. It always is a talking point. But you're really going to have to be very conservative on throttle, something you really didn't have to do last night. You really only had to worry about the car bumping over curbs. You had to watch out for those curbs. They bit me in 4 the one time. You'll be able to use the curbs a little more, but still not what you want to do. Those rear tires are going to be crying. But you're going to use all the road tires you can for your Q lap. As Sebastian Mayer, we'll see him light them up on his probably one and only Q lap. You do get 2 laps, but not like last night. You don't use that first lap to warm up. You'll probably see everyone get their money lap on lap number 1, like Travis Beckner, and you're going to be pretty much just dancing slowly around this racetrack before they get to their lap.
Yeah, conserve your tires on the outlap here. I did note when I did the thumbnail lap earlier that it seemed like the tires, and it seemed like it was the case last night, they needed a little bit of conditioning before they had full grip, but it wasn't a full lap's worth. So Beckner's on it now as he heads down towards turn 10, one of the fast right-handers on the racetrack. You mentioned the curbs last night, those stiff Cup cars, didn't really like those. The softer, more compliant suspension on the trucks and Xfinity car will allow you to get more aggressive on the curbing, but we pointed out the wheel hop as Beckner runs way wide to get a good run onto the straightaway. Braking in these cars, so much more challenging than the Cup Series cars, Connor. You've got the independent rear suspension. You've got a lot bigger brake package, a lot more tire grip on the Cup Series side as well. So I think getting these things slowed down, downshifted properly with a rev match to keep the engine from stuttering and bouncing that rear transmission, I think that's going to be some of the most important parts of driving this racetrack tonight.
Yeah, in a Cup car, you can not only slam the brakes to get slowed down, but you can engine brake a little bit. When you want to downshift, you'll downshift to the point where you're getting way high revs in a Cup car, and it just slows it down even that much more. Engine braking is such an important part of going fast. In a Cup car, you can't do that in a truck. If you try that in a truck or Xfinity Series car, you are going to spin out, wheel hop, probably take out half a dozen with you if you do it on lap number 1. So you got to be very, very careful with how you get on the brakes. You got to be very smooth with it. You can't just slam them like you did last night. There's a lot more finesse with these things, and you got to do a lot more work with these things, I would say, because Travis Beckner focus. He is having to just absolutely wheel it. There's no stable part of this track. You don't get a break at Sonoma. There's no straightaway unless you count maybe like the little straightaway out of 11, but that's really about it. Everywhere else, you are working nonstop.
Yeah, this is a track that will wear you out. It is a rhythmic place, though. Once you can get yourself into a good rhythm, you can find yourself making some pretty good laps. Let's see what Beckner's got in the tank here on the first lap, which will likely be the better of the two. It's a 1:16.549, and that was a pretty solid lap, and you see the smile on the face there. He's happy with that.
That was faster than what anyone did in practice. Sebastian Marin was fastest. He ran a 6.83, so that was a 10th clear of that, so that should hold up pretty well. Seth Knoll, last night's winner, went about a second slower, or yeah, about half a second slower. Sebastian Marin went a 10th faster. He picked up 2/10 in practice, so Marin goes top of the board for the time being. Nichols, Knoll, Batby are the top 5. Ricky Springer had an EOL last night that didn't really give him a chance to compete for the win last night. I don't believe he has anything tonight in the number 51 truck. Checking to make sure. Yeah, nothing here, so he'll start where he qualifies tonight.
And he did a really nice job last night as far as pace is concerned. He just, as you mentioned, with that start at the tail, never really got a fair shot. So we'll see what Ricky Springer's got. He's one that I think could take the fight to Beckner as Marin goes to the top there, just about a 10th ahead of Travis Beckner. Springer only goes 12th quick. I think he'll have wanted more than that. And Jonathan Evans works his way. Oh, big wiggle over the crest there.
I don't even know if he lifted, but it's going to ruin his entrance into, I guess, turn 10 here. You really need to be tight to that curb on the left so you can get as good of an arc through that corner, that right-hander, as much as you can. Hard braking here, not trying to slide them, but you're going to try to hit the middle of this hairpin and maybe get a straighter exit. You don't really want to take it to that left side wall because you're just going to light up the rears and you're not need an angle through this little dogleg here. And there's a bump there on worn tires, that bump in that final kink coming to the line. There's a bump there that can really get you sideways, especially on worn tires. So I'd watch out for that.
Yeah, not a great lap there for Evans. Brad Slaughter Jr. Has started a lap but has backed it down again. Maybe he had a slide somewhere that wasn't going to translate well, so he'll save his tires for another lap. Here comes Reese Schaefer in the 07, and that's a 1:28.117. That's not a representative time.
See if it is this time. He's going to fire it up the hill. You really need to keep it tight right there. Then you use all the curbing usually to your left. Get it tight to the dirt there as possible. Watch out for bottoming out there. A lot of bottoming out last night. Don't want to hit that curb too hard right there or else you will get into the dirt on the left. These curbs around here you really don't want to hit, especially this one. Got to be very careful with that. These trucks take that curb on exit a lot better than the Cup cars did last night. Caused a lot of problems, especially in qualifying for a lot of drivers last night.
And the S is, if you need rotation, you can find it by straddling those rumble strips. We saw that out of the one of Seth Knoll last night, sparking out from underneath the car, and Reese Schaefer's getting up on top of them here. Some of the curbs are just so aggressive that when you hit them, it's just a shock to the chassis, but some of them are smooth enough that when you climb up onto them, right there at turn 10, for example, it's just enough to hook the truck around. Nichols goes 3rd quick. Ricky Springer on his 2nd lap improved to 4th. That's a really solid effort there as Schaefer turns into 11.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising to see people improve on lap number 2. I did not think we'd see that, but John Hall just went second with a 16.48, so that's going to be very good for those Hendry County trucks and the Celsius truck that John Hall usually runs. So all three of those guys are going to be very hard to beat, well clear of Jake Nichols in 4th by 3 to 4 tenths of a second. Reese Schaefer just went 6th on that lap, so he picked it up big time. Eric Wineland sliding down the hill.
Wineland working. Whoa, big wiggle on the entry to 10 as well. He'll see if he'll try to salvage this or if he'll back it down. Still trying. He's still pushing.
I don't think he has anything else to. I don't think he can back out. Might as well not at this point.
One of the few Ford F-150s here in this field.
This is his first lap, so he could have backed it down a little bit if you want, but he's just trying to get to the line. With all those slides, it's going to be hard for the second lap to be much better, but maybe he made so many mistakes that it could improve. He's down at 30th right now. Everyone making the field tonight, no DNQs, at least not right now. I think we have 42 trucks starting because Jacob Bell won't start the race, even though he's in here. Only good drivers outside the top 10. Weishart, Miller, I believe I saw JT Poole in about 16th. Anna Sogak 25th, Garrett Granson about 28th, Wineland's 3rd to last as far as the drivers who have put a time down. Guys like Cap, Slate, Jeremy Brown, Brad Slaughter have not put a time down. I assume Slaughter won't put a time down because we saw him on track.
Well, he will not because he already has started his second lap as well. Jeremy Brown did. Rafe Slate has an opportunity to go quicker than Caps, Hallman. They don't have time to put a lap down at this stage.
And Rafe Slate, actually, he's one of those drivers that has an EOL. That he's actually coming off suspension, him and Joshua Balliette, from what happened at Charlotte. Still a long list of EOLs that kind of date back to Charlotte and what happened there, and a little bit at Dover as well. Hall, even though John Hall qualified second, he has an EOL, so he'll start at the back. That's
brutal for Hall, and that opens the door wide open for Sebastian Marin. And I think Travis Beckner is potentially the favorite to win this race, but you have to throw in Jake Nichols and Ricky Springer. 3rd, 4th, and 5th in qualifying. They will certainly be in contention.
Bad news for you. Travis Beckner qualified 3rd. He also has an EOL penalty.
You're right.
Opens the door wide open for Sebastian Marin.
Yeah. I didn't see that the 28 had an EOL, but you're right, he does. And that is, well, here's the thing. It's a 37-lap race, not a very long one by any stretch, but I do think that you've got opportunity to move quite a ways forward with pace alone, which, a lot of it just comes down to you. That's what the nice thing about the road courses, Connor, is that effectively the result is your own. So unless you get completely clobbered, you control your own destiny tonight.
You're going to have to, if those guys have EOLs, guys starting at the back, they're going to make up a lot of ground at the very beginning because that's where you're probably going to lose the most of your time if you have a faster truck. You're going to lose so much time up the hill, down the hill, just being behind slower traffic. So guys like John Hall, Travis Beckner, the 7 of Balliette, Rafe Slate, those drivers are going to have to work very hard in the first few laps to make as much track position up as possible without completely throwing away their tires.
Qualifying is complete. Sebastian Marin is on pole. And race fans, make sure you subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat, and you can earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today at twitch.tv/Area iRacing. Got another road race later this week with the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. There'll be Connor Horn, Finian DeCuna, and Hunter Slappy bringing the action at our 3rd road race of the season for Area. But in a couple weeks, Montreal, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, also round number 9 for not this series, but the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series and the Cup Series. Well, they'll head there, and there are some similarities and some differences to that one, Connor, but neither are what I would consider the sort of power track that Watkins Glen serves in the schedule. So I think there's going to be a lot of crossover with who is good where.
You at least got straightaways at Montreal where you can kind of clear your head. You don't have that like we were talking about here at Sonoma like you would at Watkins Glen as well. It's going to be a completely different challenge. I think it's a track that the Cup cars will be really accustomed to. And Xfinity cars as well. We've seen them there, although it's kind of out of water for those Xfinity cars to go there. And I'll be pretty interested to see how the Cup cars drive. They've never driven one there.
Well, Montreal technically is a street circuit, and we've seen the cars race on street circuits before, so a little bit of a known quantity there, I think, but it's all about the braking and acceleration zones there and a whole bunch of chicanes, which I think the Cup cars will excel at. And I think the rough and tumble nature of those and how well they take contact will mean it's going to be an aggressive race. Make sure you tune in for that. As far as the truck series, though, next week we head to North Wilkesboro with everyone else. We head to Darlington and then Knoxville at our 9th round. And that's going to bring some diversity to the schedule here, Connor.
Yeah, I don't think we've gone to dirt in a while. I don't think I've ever covered a dirt race in this series either, so that'll be interesting as well. From my experience in Road to Pro, Knoxville is a dirt track. If you have a lot of trucks on track, like we most likely will with the tenets of this series, that track's going to get worn out very quickly. You're going to have to be really searching around to find where the grip is on that dirt track. Knoxville's, I think, going to be pretty fun as long as we get some green flag running. First visit to a dirt track in a while for these guys.
Yeah, it will be fun to watch for sure. That will be right here on Sim TV as we get a look at a couple of our passing zones. Turn 7. See the dark marks there as you head into that braking zone. That is an opportunity to make a mover pass. And so is turn 11. This is probably the preferred one, Connor. You're going to spend 1.5 miles really setting up for this corner, and this is where a lot of the action happens.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of craziness happen here. We saw a lot of incidents last night. Obviously no yellows, but we saw plenty of contact, not only into the corner, but even out of the corner, because some drivers will take it wide on exit, trying to turn down to the apex of the corner to the driver's right. You'll see some other drivers try to just completely wrap it, kind of like how you would at any other normal oval, like a short oval. That's kind of why we saw a lot of incidents last night. I don't know if we'll see that tonight. We'll just have to wait and see. But like you said, you're pretty much running the S's. If you're right behind someone, you're running the S's, trying to set up for something bigger. JT Poole has a different background.
I was going to say, it's we're kind of back to school, aren't we? So different dorm room this year.
Yeah, so like we said, you're pretty much running the S's behind someone, just trying to set up for a move. And if you don't make that move in 11, you can't make it work. You're going to be stuck behind that driver for even longer, and then maybe you have to try a desperate dive in 7 as we look at Devin Johnson's on board. Much easier to make some sort of move happen in 11 because you don't really have a lot of room to get any sort of run down in turn 7. That's really like a last gasp sort of corner for a lot of drivers.
Giving John Hall a look here. Does he normally have the Formula-style rim? I haven't noticed that before.
I don't believe so, but I could be wrong.
So giving that a try for road racing. Rafe Slate not joined us just yet. But, man, Travis Beckner, he is, he's got the Central United shirt on. He is stoked for a driver that will have a lot of work to do and start from the tail of the field tonight after he's qualifying up on that front row. So we'll see how things go for him tonight. Bryce Senesac gives us his very colorful on board again. Rafe Slate still not back, but Ricky Springer certainly is. And Ricky is also giving us the shifter cam. Well, actually, sorry, this is Eric Wineland's pedal cam we're going to get. And we also have a shifter cam, I believe, from Ricky Springer. No, we do not.
Oh.
This was... No, this... Oh, there's 2 pedal cams. This is Ricky's. He just labeled it shifter. So this is Ricky's pedal cam. And Eric Wineland has given us a pedal cam as well with the old cardboard box mod. I love that.
He's trying to set it up at least.
So, man, I'll tell you what. I've spent so much time with that set of pedals. It's going to be... I mean, if you get the spring mod for those, it's not all that bad. But... fortunate now to have Fanatec V3s, and definitely makes your braking more consistent, although there's certainly better pedal sets to have nowadays, but got what I could off the Grid Life shelf.
I think I've had Thrustmaster pedals for the last decade. I'm sure there's better pedals, but these have been pretty trusty for a decade. I've never had issues with them.
I think once you just get used to something, you find yourself pretty on par. But
once you actually try to change, it becomes really difficult.
Yeah, I think that's a big key to it. All right, warm-up is complete. We're going to head down to the racetrack here in just a moment's time and roll through our Central Mobile Homes starting grid. And if you're looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to CentralMobileHomesInc.com to get started today. With that, we're going to head down to the racetrack here in just a moment's time. And this race will take us about 52 minutes from flag to flag, a little bit shorter than last night. Why did it say 37 laps? You were right, it said 40.
It was updated late. It was going to be 37 laps, but drivers realized they could save maybe a lap or two of fuel and make it to the end without a stop. So that's why it was up to 40. When we went here about 3 seasons ago, it was 40 laps anyways. James Skyerly went to victory lane. He's not here, so we'll get a new winner here. Travis Beckner finished second to him that day.
Well, we'll see what Travis Beckner can do again with that EOL. He's got some things on his plate to take care of here. Let's roll through our Central Mobile Home starting lineup on the front row. And it is Sebastian Marin and John Hall. John Hall will be dropping to the rear with that EOL.
As will Travis Beckner, who qualified in the 3rd position because of a 0-3s penalty. That moves Jake Nichols to the front row. He qualified into 4th position.
Starting 5th place, Ricky Springer, the number 51. He'll be one to watch. Reese Schaefer, nice qualifying effort, starts 6th in the 0-7.
7th place goes to the 1 truck of Seth Knoll. 8th place goes to the 38 of Patrick Moose.
9th place, row 5, Matthew Pappy in the 89. Michael Venable starts 10th in the number 95 Silverado.
11th position, the 33 truck of David Weishart alongside Edward Scherer Jr., who not only has an EOL, but also a pass-through penalty.
Jeremy Miller rolls off 13th in the number 30 truck. Drew Jua starts 14th in the number 13, and he is another EOL driver.
15th position, 31 Ford F-150, one of the few in the field. Mason Kane starts 15th. Troy Eitzen in the 70 truck. He's been a standout on the ovals. He needs some work to do to get to the top 10. He starts 16th.
17th place, Joshua Balliet, EOL for him as well. JT Poole will get to keep his starting spot of 18th place.
He'll probably move up a couple rows as well. James Shainwolf in the 83 starts 19th. Cameron Hearn, who had a big crash last night during the race, starts 20th.
21st place, Eric Wineland in the number 21, and Bryce Senesac in the 09 starts in 22nd.
23rd position goes to, I believe, the DoorDash Chevrolet Silverado of Sean Peachin. Rafe Slate, who has an EOL himself after returning from suspension, starts 24th.
25th place, Gary Waterworth in the number 2, and Julian Valadez in the 57 starts 26th.
27th position, the 88 of Justin Sodak, and Daniel Day, who's been pretty solid, not the Q effort he wanted. He'll start back in 28th.
With an EOL as well for Daniel Day. 29th, Ben Pearson, the 65, and Garrett Grant rolls off 30th in the number 5. Another EOL driver. Feels like half the field's got those things held over.
Well, Jonathan Evans is another one who has an EOL. You see some drivers started at the back or maybe sandbagged their Q lap because they knew it didn't matter. He qualified 31st on speed. As we see all those EOLs get out of the way, Chris Seidenfaden, the number 45 truck, starts 32nd. You can see the long line at the bottom of the hill.
And in 33rd, Casey Laconis in the number 50. Devin Johnson rolls off 34th in the number 90.
And that's the last of anyone who put a time down. Brad Slaughter Jr. couldn't get a time down. He starts 35th, but he'll move up just a little bit, as will Lucas Strayer in the number 41 truck, who qualified 36th.
Jacob Bell will not be starting this race. Danny Ware will from 38th place, although he'll move up. Oh, no, he won't. He's another EOL driver, so he'll start back there as well.
Jeremy Brown, the 39th position. Another driver didn't put a time down, as Drew Jua is going to let everyone by, as will Ben Pierce. Pacey Wygen in the 40th position.
And bringing up the rear of the field, Tyler Hallman in the number 62, Drew Trader in the number 25, and Adam Capps in the number 4. We'll start, what would have been at the back of the field before the EOLs have been established. So with all those positions shifting and shuffling, we're going to get ourselves our extra pace lap, as is standard. Have another look at the weather information. Nice cool air temp. Track temp's a little warm, Connor, but it doesn't seem to matter what temperature this place is. It is like driving on glass, so slippery, and it's not going to get any better once you start putting laps on the tires.
Yeah, I think what a clear day will do is make that tire fall off, the time fall off, much bigger. I think if it was a cool and cloudy day, you wouldn't see as much fall off, but you'd still be struggling with the rears off corner exit after probably 10 laps or so. I think we'll see it even earlier. We'll probably see in the 5 to 10 range a lot of fall off and a lot of issues for a lot of drivers who are struggling in practice. So Jeremy Miller, he qualified 13th. He'll probably start top 10 due to penalties. He was struggling big time with the rear tires, to the point where you're actually having to short shift a little bit just to keep the RPMs low and get out of the corner. And at some point, it's just better than trying to go with the lower gear. So I think we'll see a lot of drivers have to do that as this run progresses, because you're not going to be taking just fuel. You're going to have to take tires at some point. Like we said, there's going to be a lot more strategy tonight.
The 40 laps is the race distance as the field doubles up here, heading up the hill. Sebastian Marin is on the front row, and Jake Nichols in the 73. Ricky Springer's in the 51. Based on how Solar Flare ran last night, you have to look at this 73 as a favorite, Connor. He's got the road racing experience. Take my, or well, not take my pick, take a pick of your pick.
Oh,
who's
my
going to win
pick,
this
not
race?
your pick?
Well, you could take my pick, probably.
I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, the thing is, Jake Nichols didn't qualify that well last night either compared to where he ran. He was easily the top 3 driver. So he's going to be interesting. He's going to be tough to beat. It's going to be interesting to see how Ricky Springer drives. We'll see. You know, he's kind of a short run guy. We'll see if he falls off at all, but still he's going to start right behind Marin. So he has a good opportunity as well. I guess I'm going to go with a surprise, maybe a surprise pick. He'll start, I think, 5th, Seth Knoll in the 1 truck. I think he finally gets that truck win. He has 4 cup wins. Still waiting on that truck victory. I think he'll get it.
It's a good pick. I was going to go with 32. I feel like it's a little bit of a cop-out. So I'm going to roll with 51 of Ricky Springer. He impressed me last night with the pace that he had. I think he'll be able to carry that at least to a podium finish tonight, if not a potential race win. Aaron's quick, but we'll see if the strategy that he plays will pay off as well. 40 laps is the race distance here. Area Truck Series in Area's Season 6 of competition. The first time, I believe, that we've ever been to Sonoma with the Truck Series.
Second time.
Second time. That's wrong, too. My stats. Anyway, let's go racing. Green flag, and we're underway in Sonoma. Side by side through the first corner. Nichols pulls even with Marin up through the first corner.
Just couldn't quite stay drivers right. That would have been a big advantage up at the top of the hill here, as we did not get through clean here last night. At least through that corner looks like we did, but still plenty of time to go to have things go way wrong. Marin, Nichols, Springer, Schaefer, Moose, the top 5.
Nice, clean, orderly run through the first couple of corners into turn 4. This is a challenging sequence here in anger. Over that berm to the outside, 1 truck way wide. A couple of trucks are going to go for a ride there, but keep them all straight so far.
Thought I saw Rafe Slade have contact with someone, but a little door banging, all good. Getting very single file at the front, but the battle for maybe about 8th or so, or 9th or so, still side by side. Weishart finally gave that up. You do not want to go side by side through the S's, lose a ton of time, as we're pretty single file throughout the top 20 or so.
Weishart drops behind Trey Eitzen in the number 70, but a very clean, orderly beginning to this race, and one truck, I think that was Seidenfeiden, dropped a tire at the exit of turn 10, and Peachin has a late lunge here on the 09 Asenasac down at 11.
That's where it gets ugly potentially, but it seems like once again, at least clean-ish for now, for at least 1 lap. Still side by side, Seidenfeiden, Balliet, Rafe Slate by Slaughter, 2 drivers with EOLs. Edward Shear will serve another pass-through like he did in Dover. That'll put him down the order, but not as costly as it was in Dover.
Seidenfeiden still dropping spots. Rafe Slate goes by. 81 of Brad Slaughter up in the mix, as well as Ricky Springer has got Jake Nichols right in the crosshairs here.
They're going to battle a little bit. Beckner and Balliet are going side by side down into turn number 4, but you can see Springer trying to chase the 73 down, and he's going to use all the curbing he possibly can, trying to use that for grip like they do in real life. Not sure how well it works in iRacing. Didn't seem like he got that great of a run, but you're really going to not... Usually you want to take advantage early on tires, but really you need to be in conserve mode, because if you're not going to pit early, you got a long way to go on these tires. They're going to fall off big time, so you don't want to push them too hard right now. I think Springer knows that. Oh, so does a 73.
Onto the brakes here for turn 11. A little blip of the throttle, just a rev match. Does it nicely. Notice I'm using the clutch pedal on the upshift, and that was peculiar. You don't have to do that because it's a dog box transmission, but I think just for the comfort and convenience, he's going to do it. John Hall up to 20th place to the inside of Waterworth, who runs way out wide at turn 11.
Travis Beckner made the move on just Anna Sogak. They went side by side through 10, and they both almost slid off track, but the 28 got that position away just at the right time before they got them a dive into 11. He's already up to 22nd after starting pretty far back with that EOL. I guess he's probably trying to follow the 03 through a little bit here.
Yeah, I think Travis Beckner has pace that could win this race. The lack of possibility for cautions is really going to put him in a pickle here, but give him the right opportunity and the right strategy. I'm not going to rule him out until we get to like lap 20. But he is on a mission right now.
Yeah, all these drivers at the back are on a mission. Rafe Slade's moved up a pretty decent bit as well. You can see him in the red truck with the white stripe. He's not too far behind. A little contact there, Peachin and Balliet. Peachin was trying to maybe cross over, couldn't quite do it. Valadez and Balliet will go side by side through the S's. You really don't want to be side by side through there. You got to sort it out early, which they did. Pretty important for them to do that, as we got single file pretty quickly, but there's still a lot of angry truck drivers running around this racetrack. trying to get positions back as Marin is not getting away from Jake Nichols quite yet, but he still does have a pretty simple and easy lead. Waterworth and Beckner might have made contact there right before the hairpin.
Watch this into turn 10. Watch the slide from the 28. Oh, really pushing through turn 10 to get that pass there on Sean Peachin, and he's through. Or that was Waterworth, rather.
Oh, we got a spin out of the hairpin. It's Chris Seidenfaden. Let's look out. Ben Pierce is going to lose a lot of time having to stop for that. He did the right thing.
Oh, that is brutal for the 65.
Jeremy Miller has big damage as well. I'm not sure what happened, but that was separate. Looks like Seidenfaden just lost on his own. Ben Pierce, unfortunately, just had nothing he could do.
He just had to sit there, and now Ben Pierce is down at 40th place. That is absolutely brutal.
And then something happened with Miller and Kane right after they crossed the line. The 30 truck's destroyed out of picture. We're still pretty clean at the front. Looks like the 30 is going to be done, as is Mason Kane.
Oh,
maybe.
This was a big crash at turn 1. Ooh, that was nasty. Go back and have another look. They were side by side on the front straightaway. And this is not a straight by any stretch. This is a full-on corner here. They're going to turn in. I think Miller kind of turned in on him. And
it's not a side-by-side part of a track either. I think Miller was trying to pinch him to the wall, and I'm not sure if Mason Kane really had anything he could do there. He kind of ran out of room, and that's the wall Casey Kane hit like 7 years ago, and it is concrete. It hurts. It almost seems like Miller ran into him afterwards. But either way, both drivers done, and that's the first bit of chaos we've seen tonight.
We didn't really see a major wreck last night either. There were little boops and bangs and things, but nothing of that magnitude. And you're right, those concrete barriers, 9,000 pounds apiece. They're 3 times the truck weight, and they're bolted to the ground, and that doesn't help. And spin, Anna Sogak at turn 2.
He was struggling for a while, and maybe this kind of ended things. He looked like he was really struggling to get into corners. Let's see, side by side, and
drove in there hot, I think.
Whoa, Brad Slaughter did everything he could to not hit him. But it looked like he was just in a little too hot, and the contact with the bumper, the 69, kind of sent him around.
So while all that's been going on out front, Sebastian Marin leads. Jake Nichols has sort of dispatched Ricky Springer. It's 1.1 between those two, but just 0.6 between the front runners. And back part of the top 10 is getting interesting again. David Weishart's running Trey Eitzen back down. And there's JT Poole back there in the 26 just behind.
Yeah, a few of these incidents have really spread things out a lot more. We already have 9 seconds from Marin to Weishart in this 10th position as Beckner continues his climb going to the inside of Bryce Senesek. Senesek a little too wide there, but just giving enough room for the 28 to come through. He won't win the race from the back, but he will still get a solid finish. It shows how fast he is, shows what could have been, and even then John Hall's further up. They're both right bumper to bumper at this point.
Yeah, Beckner is the only one other than those inside the top 5 that ran a lap time in the 1:18. So he has got pace, requisite with those drivers way at the pointy end of the field. He just has so much ground to make up, and you have to use so much tire to get there. And I think that's going to be the ultimate killer tonight.
That's going to be the thing. He's going to drive so hard to get through the field. He's not going to be able to, but here comes Weishart into 7. He has a run on Eitzen. I don't think Eitzen's going to fight it, just kind of let him go before they even got close to the apex of 7. So Eitzen maybe slipping a little bit. Here comes Beckner, another position on James Shane Wolf, following John Hall through.
Yeah, really advancing his way forward here, up to now 14th place. And this is part of the design of the penalty system, Connor. Is how frustrating is it to have a race-winning pace truck and to be saddled by an incident from weeks ago? That's the idea. And I think there was maybe a little bit of controversy over the penalty for the 28 in particular, but just using him as an example, you know, had he known he would be in this position here at Sonoma, maybe you would rethink how things went down at a previous event. And that's kind of the idea going forward is, hey, I don't want to handicap myself in an event that I haven't even had a chance to win yet. So that's kind of the what, in theory, is supposed to keep drivers from making moves they shouldn't.
Well, it's tough for Beckner because both the incidents he got points for at Dover were racing incidents, or quote-unquote shared fault. I don't quite know yet what shared fault is compared to a racing incident, but he got 1 point each for those, adds up to an EOL. It's kind of tough to back out of those situations when you're not at least fully at fault. At least he wasn't deemed fully at fault.
If I had to guess, and I'm just paraphrasing here, and this is not the organization's view, this is just my view, I'd imagine that shared fault is you're both responsible, and a racing incident is no one is responsible. And I think there is a difference between those two things. But that line gets pretty gray.
I would say so.
Reese Schaefer has caught Ricky Springer, and Seth Knoll, your pick to win this race, has caught both these trucks.
Yeah, it seems like Ricky's kind of faded a little bit. He was a full second slower than Jake Nichols last time by. You can tell he's starting to hold up. At least Schaefer, who did not have the most pace in the Cup car, but seems to be even stronger in the truck here, as we saw the battle between Garrett Grant and Julian Valadez go a little sour. Got a little boof to the 5 truck.
That took a couple opportunities to. Yeah, he finished him off, didn't he, man?
Yeah, I would say so. Well, at least Garrett Grant didn't get much damage out of it, so he'll be able to continue at least further down the order, as Reese Schaefer is still trying to work over Ricky Springer. Yeah,
Ricky's on defense here a little. He's lapping quite a bit slower than the front 2, so it could just be a 2-horse race. But even Marin has dispatched Jake Nichols a bit as Knoll drives down the inside at 7 and opens the door, and he's through just like that.
So Knoll showing some speed on the longer run here. Maybe he'll be the next one to work over the 51. Still pretty bumper to bumper back here behind James Shanewolf in the 83 truck. A little bit of a pack forming here. About 5 trucks, 4 behind Shanewolf. Senesac, Wineland, Balliet, and Gary Waterworth. And Balliet's another one of those drivers climbing from the rear with the EOL to get to the front. He has some road course pace as well. Last time the 7 came to Sonoma, it was Scioli at the wheel. He took the victory. Balliet probably not going to be able to duplicate that, but still a solid run so far, and I suspect he might have a look on the 21. Here is Wineland's. Gosh, Wineland slipped there. I thought he was spinning, but that is going to let Balliet get to be inside further behind this battle with Cameron Hearn.
And here comes the 2 of Waterworth up the inside. Let's go back to that big slide that you pointed out. Turn 10 is a tricky corner. Right there, you see all the counters here. He's going to chase it all the way across the road into the dirt. It is a tricky turn because you're relying on downforce, but you don't have a lot of it. You're only doing about 100 miles an hour, which is just when downforce starts coming into effect. Brad Slaughter Jr.'s on pit lane. Scheduled stop or no?
I would think so. You can most certainly make it from here, I would think. So he's going to take his 4 tires, something he wouldn't have done last night, and try to go to the end. The problem with doing this is just those tires are going to be dead by the end of the race. So he's going to try to gain what he can on the short run here with these fresher tires, but he's going to pay the price near the end of the race. I don't know how many other drivers are going to try this strategy tonight.
Patrick Moose is a name we haven't really talked a lot about this evening, up to 6th place. He's catching Reese Schaefer, who seems like he's in a bit of a struggle bus scenario here.
Oh, Venable's way off and behind this. He kept it off the tire barriers. Blinked out. I don't know if he ulted forward there or not, but he kept it off the tire barriers, but lost some track position there. He's actually going to have to cut back under Matthew Batby for position.
John Hall to the inside of JT Poole. Remember, John was one of those EOL trucks up to 11th place. And all the while, where has Beckner gone? He's still P14. He's had a little bit of a larger gap to make up.
He's not kept pace with the 0-3, so John Hall's pace actually might look better, at least through traffic it is right now. Shanewolf and Senesac, they're still going at it. And that battle for 3rd is heating up. Seth Knoll's inching closer, but not quite close enough to have any sort of look for that position. I think Senesac's a little bit closer, maybe a little bit more impatient. Rafe Slade, another EOL, not too far behind this battle either.
Now watch Senesac here, the focus he's got. I always like to see, too, what kind of shifting solution drivers are using. Don't really shift a lot here at Sonoma relative to other road courses. You're spending most of the lap in 2nd and 3rd gear.
It's going to have a look even behind Senesac, but thought better of it. I think everyone's getting impatient, waiting for Senesac to just do something. I think if one person makes this pass, it'll open up a whole bottle of opportunities for drivers to get through. But it's just so hard to set this up. Even though the truck's maybe not as aero-dependent as a Cup car, there's still dirty air that affects you pretty big time when you're right behind someone. So it's just all about trying to get through. Oh, Shanewolf's way loose. He kept it on the road somehow. And 09 didn't get a run. Here comes Balliet actually for that position. This is going to be tight. Oh, he's going to almost get into Shanewolf. He's going to lose 1, 2, 3 spots. Now Shanewolf is in too deep. They're almost 3 wide off the corner.
Yeah, and this is what I love about road racing is that, yeah, the racetrack's got 12 corners. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be able to pass at all of them. You spend most of the racetrack setting up for your opportunity, and that is the name of the game. Look at Waterworth charging up the outside of the 83 now. You can pass everywhere on the racetrack if you're good enough to do it in the moment. But
if you're bold enough, sure, yeah.
Yeah, but it's all about, you know, the nuance of attacking your opponent where they are weak. And that's the same thing that you do on an oval, but you really get 2 opportunities at an oval, and here you either get 1 or you get 12, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, Waterworth took that opportunity there. We were talking about getting Shane Wolf out of the way. Right, Senesac couldn't do it. The other 2 behind him were able to do it because the 83 missed a corner, but Senesac missed it with him. Now Eric Wineland and Drew Jua, Rafe Slate, they're going at it even further behind this. This is for what, the 18th or 19th position, all for just barely in the front half of the field. Casey Wygen just passed Daniel Day for 24th in turn 7 as well. And we're seeing those top 2 really pull away from the rest of the field as John Hall makes a dive on Trey Eitzen in turn 11. Nichols has not let Sebastian Marin go, really, but Marin has kept a healthy gap. They're almost 7 seconds ahead of Ricky Springer, as this could get ugly in turn 11 at any point.
I have to be honest, Wineland charges in there. I've been pretty impressed with people not wheel hopping on the brakes. That was my initial reaction, was how much of a struggle I had avoiding the rear wheels from locking. It all comes down to how you're downshifting primarily and how much brake you're applying. Whoa, big slide across the nose. Wineland on defense now in the charge up the hill.
I don't think Wineland meant to do that. I think he's just a little out of whack, just doesn't have as much grip at this point. I think Drew Jua is a tiny bit faster. That's for 19th position. All these drivers still trying to fight to get the James Shane Wolf, but it's still Senesac trying to be the aggressor in that battle, trying to get what is now 17th position after it was a battle for 15th.
Oh, there goes the 83. James Shane Wolf out to the wall, and now the 07, or 09 rather, has the 13 up his rear bumper.
Both get by. Shane Wolf, not quite yet for Jua, but he should have the positioning. Shouldn't be fighting that point. Wineland had a big dive through there, kind of missed the apex. That should let Rafe Slate get a run down the hill on him. This has been a great battle in the back part of the top 20 at this point.
They've been the stars of the show the last couple times around, haven't they? Jua's going to have a look at Senesac down here at turn 11. Close enough to have a look. Senesac's going to leave the door open for him here. Fair racing, fair play between these 2.
I think Senesac knows he's a little faster. It's probably better to just follow in and maybe try to pick something up from the 13. Wouldn't be surprised if Jua pulls away. He might even chase down Waterworth. The 2 and the 7, once they got by James Shane Wolf, they really pulled away as this battle's starting to heat up as well. Seth Knoll hasn't been able to heat up the rear bumper of Ricky Springer, but it's going to be his rear bumper getting lit up. Probably not what he was used to last night for the most part. Reese Schaefer all over him at this point in the run.
The 4-truck battle for 3rd place between Springer, Knoll, Schaefer, and Moose, and Batby and Venable and Weishart really aren't all that far behind. So they're down in the 120s now lap times wise. The leaders, Marin and Nichols, are kind of matching each other's pace at 19.3s.
It looks like Jake Nichols maybe closed in a little bit that lap, but still not within striking distance. Marin's pace very good in clean air at this point, but it's very important for Jake Nichols to stay in this 1 to 2 second range. Right now, the fall off from their fastest lap in the race is about 2 seconds. Marin ran a 19.5. Him and Nichols pretty much similar laps. All Jake Nichols has to do at any point in this run is beat Sebastian Marin in by a lap, and he has the lead. And then that would make the turn to make it Marin's decision. Does he want to run long, get fresher tires, or does he just react right away, maybe trying to shut off the 73? There's all sorts of strategies that are important to this race if the 73 can stay within striking distance.
Valadez on Peachin at 11. He's in pretty hot. Peachin's going to do the old-fashioned over-under, and that was beautifully executed there by the 69. And whoops, that wasn't. Throttle down too much.
Got too excited. Let Valadez get a run back on him, actually, as these guys have been going back and forth for a while now. Looking at Edward Shear. Edward Shear is actually up to 27th. He had a drive-through penalty, and he's into the top 30. That's a great climb for him.
Shane Wolf and Wineland are not done yet. Rafe Slate sees some opportunity here as well.
Slate's still trying to climb through the field. He's not able to keep pace with Beckner or John Hall, but he's much faster, I think, than Wineland. And I think James Shane Wolf is just trying to hold on for dear life at this point. I thought Slate was going to take a peek in the 7, but not quite able to do so.
And for 3rd, here comes Seth Knoll finally to the inside of Springer. And I don't think Ricky's got anything for him. A huge lateral slide mid-turn, wasn't able to get the power back down. So Knoll will collect 3rd place.
And Ricky didn't even make a mistake from what I saw down the S's. Seth Knoll just kind of had more grip and was able to close close enough to the rear bumper to have that look into 11. That's all it took. Now he's in dirtier air because second place Nichols obviously let him, pretty much ran away from him. It's about an 8-second gap as Weiland dives on Shane Wolf pretty deep. They'll maybe rub doors a little bit. 21 will have a better exit, and I think he'll clear the 83. But you could see how much time Ricky Springer was losing to a 73. Now we'll see if Seth Knoll can do anything with that gap, and we'll see if in dirty air Ricky Springer falls back a little bit as the 88 is in, and a Sogak. It's really only the second pit stop we've had tonight.
Yeah, that's why I love that run from 10 to 11, though. If you carry good speed, you just have a great launch, and it just becomes an all-out braking battle, and that's what's so fun to watch drivers try to execute. The slate goes by Shane Wolf. That's for 20th place. And up in 4th now. Springer still sort of on the back foot. Schaefer hasn't been able to complete the deal. Patrick Moose is lingering there. Tyler Hallman goes a lap down through this group.
He had a slide, I believe, at Pierce pit from, he was kind of outside the top 30, so a few more drivers trickling in as I think one of the drivers, oh, here comes Weissart as another front runner in the top 10 to come, and John Hall. So this is really opening the box of strategy here, seeing these fast drivers come in, like Hall. Travis Beckner also followed through.
JT Poole on defense here from Cameron Hearn. These two have raced door-to-door plenty of times in past seasons. Oh, this is tight. Again, this front straightaway, there's nothing straight about it. It is a tricky sequence. It's hard to do by yourself, let alone door-to-door with somebody. They'll stay nose to tail for now. Springer, Schaefer, Moose. This is a tight fight here into turn 4.
We are close to halfway, so it makes a little sense for drivers to start pitting here, short-cutting a little bit. Short pitting a little bit, I should say. Daniel Day just came in. Sean Peachin is in. Looks like no one else from here, as we're starting to get to that point where those leaders might get into lap traffic earlier than they want to. Sebastian Marin's already had to go past Devin Johnson. Jake Nichols is having to make that pass as Devin Johnson is off track in front of his 73, but he kept it straight. But we're starting to see strategies take place.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about this is Hearn's going to muscle by Poole here, and Poole's going to try to defend on it, and Balliette's going to watch all this out the windshield. We didn't see tire changing last night at all. Not a single soul took a single tire. This is going to be a different situation tonight because drivers are taking tires. You know, you're not just conserving the one set that you have. You can kind of abuse one and save the other, or vice versa. You've got choices, and I think that's what's so fun about having the tire fall off we've seen tonight.
Matthew Pappy pit from 7th, so that's the furthest up runner I think we've seen pit. So we'll see if anyone else reacts into the next lap or so. All that lap traffic has really let Sebastian Marin open up a lead. Jake Nichols has not gotten through traffic as well. It's now over 2 seconds. It's maybe 2.5 seconds on the straightaways. You can see that line of traffic that came out behind and really in the middle of that top 2 battle, all behind the top 2 now.
Schaefer and Springer. Schaefer's been having a look at Springer every other lap down here at 7.
Danny Ware just pit. Joshua Balliette, we were looking at him. He just pit. Oh, car wide. Jonathan Evans is wide at 10, but he kept it straight. We'll stay on this battle as Schaefer just has not been able to get through the S's like Seth Knoll was able to get away from Ricky Springer. And you can tell how much this 51 slowing down these guys. Seth Knoll's already opened up maybe 2 seconds from himself to Ricky Springer. Yeah,
Ricky's good in those S's though, and that's what is making it so hard for Schaefer, is that Ricky's good in the one place that you need to be better to set up for a pass, and that's what's allowing Springer to defend. But I don't know that Schaefer's got the outright pace to find any way around him anywhere else. That's problematic. About half the field has made their pit stop, and half of it still to go. Lots of strategy going to play out. And Trey Eitzen, I see reversing because he has spun out at turn 10.
Yeah, he was 9th place. That's a big off. We already saw some sliding there. He's immediately going to pit, along with Hearn and a bunch of others. Just lost on his own. He actually got away with it. Did not hit the tire barrier too much, so he'll continue, but lost a lot of time. He's in. Cameron Hearn, JT Poole, Gary Waterworth, they all came to pit lane as well.
When you crash at Sonoma, it's almost always at turn 10, so he did a nice job gathering it up, all things considered. But it will cost him time. Springer.
Whoa! Destroyer right in front of Ricky Springer, but got out of good parking.
Yeah, can't park there, but he'll get back rolling. And the timing screen is a mess of drivers that are pitting right now. So again, on the left-hand side, you'll see drivers who have made their pit stop show a 1, drivers who have not show a 0.
Unless someone's has a lot of damage, you'll only see 1 pit stop. Two-stop strategy will not work today, as Eidson's going to exit the pits. He's actually going to lap down, almost a lap down. He's actually going to come out not too far away from Marin. Almost looks like Sebastian Marin came very close to clipping the pit wall, but I don't think he did, as there's so much traffic in between the battles on the lead lap and the battles not on the lead lap. Schaefer is all over Ricky Springer up the hill, but this is not a passing zone you're going to be able to make work. It's not even a passing zone.
Now laps and stint on the left-hand side of the screen. How long have drivers been on course with their set of tires? The leaders have been out since the beginning. Matthew Batby, see him in 10th. He's got brand new fresh tires, but he's also actually leading those that pit, so he's in a good spot.
He was in behind this battle with Schaefer, Moose, and Springer, so he should come out ahead of them, and he'll have to be defending big time near the end of this race. Had a spin.
What?
Nothing, just a spin from Ben Pierce. He got it going, wasn't a big deal, but you can see how much Ricky Springer's trying to defend for his life. He just has no grip, but he just has enough in the essence. Oh, Sebastian Marin's in, race leader. And Jake Nichols won't follow him.
That's interesting to me. So Nichols wants an advantage, and he's going to use it in the second half of the race. I like this call. I think this will work out for him.
Here comes Ricky Springer. Makes sense there. He was really struggling.
He's even sliding into pit lane.
It's a treacherous pit lane. You got to hit it at 45, but you try to get a little bit more grip there. You got to try to grip up as much as possible through there to get the best entrance possible. It don't matter a big deal if you can get through there.
Nichols doesn't need this. He doesn't need any sort of traffic. He needs to get clean laps. While he's out front, he's going to send it down the inside of the 45, a side fight. He's going to go straight off at 4.
Yeah, that's not what he needed. He needed to stay out and get clean air, as he did not get that. Neither will Beckner. Him and Weishart will go to battle. Both drivers have already made their pit stops. Weishart might have came in a little earlier than Beckner. 28's going to blow by here.
Beckner, again, has good pace, but don't know that the strategy is going to work out. That was really tight as Springer comes out right in front of the 28 and immediately cleared himself, and with 4-lap fresher tires, he should be able to put some distance on that duo behind him.
Yeah, that was him making sure he did not get put behind older tires. There's no pit exit lane here, so he can't just come out in front of everyone. He didn't even really come left a little bit. Beckner just didn't have anywhere to go, but that's what he had to do. If he let Travis Beckner go, as Jake Nichols came to pit road this lap, if he let Travis Beckner go, he would have had to work way too hard to get by him, and it would have lost him a lot of time. Patrick Moose is in as well, but that's exactly what the 51 had to do.
And in all fairness, he didn't really run Beckner off the road. He just sort of closed the gap before Beckner had a chance to dive up there. So that was all fair play, I think, although aggressive. But 20 laps to go. We're halfway through this race. Seth Knoll leads. There are 3 drivers at the pointy end that have yet to pit: Knoll, Schaefer, and Venable. How long can you go, Connor, before you need to come to pit road?
And you might be able to go about 34, 35 laps if you want, but if you go that long and can't make it on fuel, you're giving yourself no time to make those positions back up if you go that long. So if you wanted to, you could try it, but like we said, this race got lengthened 3 extra laps from 37 to 40 because you could save 1 or 2 laps and make it to the end. You're not going to be able to really save 5 laps of fuel, so I think staying out until that point is a little egregious. You might see someone maybe go maybe 5 more laps if they're kind of aggressive, but I mean, we're about halfway, so this is when he would want to pit.
And he will do just that. Seth Knoll's going to split the race right in half. And Shane Wolf and Valadez, this battle was pretty fierce. Looks like Schaefer is going to follow.
Venable will not, so 95, I believe, will be the race leader. And Sebastian Marin will come out. He is about 13 seconds behind Venable, or somewhere around those lines.
Contact, and that did not work out for Shane Wolf.
No, it did not, and he's way off. It's going to lose him a lot of time getting back on track.
Yeah, he just tried to give the 57 a little shove. I don't think he really appreciated kind of getting taken for a ride in turn 11, but just didn't do it quite right. The truck was loaded up on the right side, so when he made contact, it flung it to the left.
Had contact apparently with Edward Shearer and Sean Peachin at some point. We didn't really catch that. Might have been a lap or so ago.
Seth Knoll, right out of the pits, right alongside Beckner. That's something that Beckner knows. You know, you've made your pit stop, you've made your bed, now you got to lay in it here.
I did find what happened. Lap 19 down the S's, the 17 got into a 69, put him in a tire barrier pretty hard. So Shearer had a drive-through before this race. He's really in trouble if he keeps getting those infractions, I would say.
Schaefer.
It's like Michael Venable's kind of a last man standing.
He is, and Moose beat Schaefer out of the pit lane with one lap. One lap prior to, I can't speak tonight. Gosh, dang it. I don't know what's going on. Moose pit one lap before Schaefer, and that gave him this position, so he moves forward.
Everything's pretty much cycled out to what the battles will be, as we see a Shearer. He had contact with Peachin, but his truck's okay. The 69's is not. He's just still trying to move through the field. Licata slid way off there. He kept it straight. It was lap 19 down the S's.
Well, we're going to make an effort here to find it. Here it is.
Shearer, I think, had just came out of the pits. So, yeah, 95 still the last one to pit really here. I'm shocked he's the only one trying this. Behind Daniel Day, Peachin's there. Don't know the tire scrum. Peachin gets loose. Shearer didn't really give him the benefit. That's a hard hit.
Yeah, that's unfortunate there for the 69. We go back to Shearer, who's making a move on the 88 of Anna Sogak here. And then Eric Wineland up in 22nd, looking for a spot.
Wineland's just been struggling with rear grip. He's just trying to hang on for what he can, even on newer tires. He's now 21st by Anna Sogak there, who's on even older tires than he is.
So, you should note that Venable has still yet to pit. Here's the interesting note to me is that Marin just ran a 19 flat. That is not a fast lap time, Connor. So, I don't know. I think you give Venable tires next lap. I think he's got enough advantage to potentially be a factor in this race. I don't think he can wait too much longer, but he's going to bank on those tires being worth everything, and it's honestly not a terrible consideration to make.
Well, it keeps him out of traffic on fresher tires, and he'll have such an advantage on fresher tires compared to everyone else around him. He should be able to pass a lot of trucks very easily. I don't think he'll be a contender for the race win. The 73 and 32 got such a big lead over him. But it should maybe gain him some positions at the back end of the run if he pits at the right time. He cannot stay out too long here, too much longer. It would lose him too much time to recover from. This Pool's going to try to get by the 2 of Waterworth here for position up the hill. Got it done. That's 15th position.
I think one of the challenges with the overcut.
Oh, sorry. Spinning 11. Looks like Rafe Slate and just Anna Sogak had contact. 88 loops it, gets it back going.
One of the challenges with the overcut strategy here is it's so easy to burn your stuff up when you're not even trying to. So, see Slate get in there pretty hot and just tag the 88 and sent him around.
All it takes, the lightest of taps when the trucks are light like that. You can see Slate wheel hop as Devin Johnson had a spin 11 as well, but he keeps it straight out of the way. Batby and the 51, they battle. Springer's by Batby there out of the corners. You can see Devin Johnson trying to get back on track. Seth Knoll stayed out a little longer, a little further behind this.
Yeah, so just for context here, Sebastian Marin is 8 seconds clear, or behind rather, Venable. The pit lane time takes about 42 seconds, so do that math. It's coming down very quickly. And hold that thought. Heard the 81 just gotten a big one. Oh my goodness.
Certainly looks like it. Ding, ding, ding. This is at the it's pretty much at the top of the hill.
Well, let's see where it actually picks up. I just guessed that it was 50 seconds ago. Whoop, here, and comes back. Oh no, this is going to be the tires on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big hit.
Yeah, that was a huge hit. You see, he was trying his hardest to save it, keep it straight, keep it on the surface, but just couldn't. It's all, if you hit this curb wrong, it's exactly what it'll do. He hit it wrong there, got him sideways. He's hanging on to it as long as he can, but one overcorrect is all it takes. And he was so close to missing that barrier, too. If he could have held on for maybe 50 more feet.
Yeah, that's no fun. Weishart and Schaefer, 6-lap pressure tires on the chasing blue truck.
But cheat. Yes, a lot of battling going on. JT Poole and Waterworth had contact. They didn't wreck, but 26's right front's dinged up as Seth Mill's trying to make new tires work. This is actually, I suppose, is this for position? This is just Schaefer, excuse me, trying to get the position. And he does a lot of front end damage, at least from my point of view, that I did not notice, but we'll get this.
Yeah,
he's I don't think he got it. Don't think it was a 33.
Not here, not yet. I mean,
you know what? Is it Patrick Moose? Patrick Moose dropped down the order a little bit.
yeah, he did. And does he have any damage to the rear? No, I don't see it. He did have a slow last lap, though. You're right. Let's see if we can pick up on where that happened.
So kind of like last night, it's starting to be. This might have been had happened earlier. Maybe. Trying to see.
Trying to get reference.
Maybe it was a lap after. Trying to figure out where. Maybe it was even earlier. It's tough, but I think the 38...
No, he's ahead of the 07 here, so it's going to be the next 20 seconds of this. He's battling Devin Johnson here, gets into the back of him, and he goes for a spin at the top of turn 4.
Ooh, yeah, that's a blind corner, too, so Schaefer's not going to know anything's happening until it's right in this lap, so that's where damage came for the 07. Looks like Moose got away with it, but it looks like he's definitely starting to struggle.
Getting the elbows out here late in this going. I mean, we've still got almost over a quarter of the race left to go. It's not all that much time, but be a little bit too soon to be sending Hail Marys. Look at this, Schaefer and Weishart door to door, and I don't think Weishart will battle that. That's smart.
Even with all that front end damage, Schaefer was able to still have enough speed to get by the 33. The 38 was a little further in behind. He's catching both of them, trying to recover what he can. But yeah, like you said, Reece Schaefer through past 33. Seth Mill still working on Matthew Batby for what would be the 4th position. Still waiting on the 95 to pit as Marin closes in on him. Waterworth and Poole, like I said, they had contact too. That's why Poole has some left front damage, but still clean for now, or cleanish for the time being. Triason's kind of caught. Can't tell if he's caught both of them. I think he actually is catching both.
They're all in the same tire strategy, so kind of all in the same boat. JT looks stressed out.
That's what Sonoma does. I was all over the place last night. That's what this track does. He's stressed out because I think he's tired of battling Waterworth. And Waterworth keeps going for this move in 4. And that's not where you make the move, but Poole keeps having to give him at least a tiny bit of room to accommodate that move, although it's just not a passing zone. I think Waterworth's getting impatient. This is going to be contact.
And that actually ended up worse for Waterworth. But, I mean, this is... you know, this place will wear you out mentally. I mean, physically too, in the real world, but mentally, this is an exhausting track because of how light you have to be on the throttle, how progressive you have to be on the brakes. You have to nail your shift points, you have to nail your apexes, and then you got to battle all the people on the racetrack. So this can be a not fun night if you don't really embrace road racing. Now, for those that do, you're looking forward to just circling this on your calendar all season long.
I have it X'd on my calendar. I'm glad I buy it as a driver. But yeah, it's definitely one of those tracks. I mean, every road course, you race the track. There's only a few ovals in the world where you race the track. Road course, you do it everywhere pretty much. But it's one of those tracks where it's more frustrating to race the track to me than it is to race the drivers, because I think racing the drivers is kind of a product of the track, and it's just so tough to get anything done here. You only have those 2 passing zones, so everywhere else you kind of have to improvise, and it gets very difficult as Triason goes a little off course there. He's the one trying to chase down JT Poole now as they come up. I think that's Miller, slower traffic, who will let them by eventually.
Waterworth back to the inside. And examples of racetracks where you're racing the competitors more than the track would be places like Road America, Watkins Glen, where you're kind of a little bit more point and shoot and more high speed, where these vehicles tend to be a little bit more comfortable. But the slow speed, you know, changing direction is not really in the DNA of these things, which makes it so much fun to watch, but tedious to drive, I think, at times. Here's Valadez past Wygen. That's for 22nd.
Crossover, that was very well done on the crossover.
I see that one from high above, I think.
We are still waiting on the 95 to pit. Sebastian Marin's not too far away from making that position. Valdez dives in a little deep here, too deep. Wygen saw it, and he's able to just cut under and get it back. That was very well done.
Yeah, beautifully executed there. Now, so for Venable, I'd have to say that this is too long at this stage.
It's borderline.
Yeah, he's not running. The fall off drops away pretty significantly, so he'll be a second and a half, 2 seconds faster a lap than everyone else once he pits. But he's going to be, I mean, he's only 2.3 seconds ahead of Marin. He's going to be 40 seconds back. That math does not work. I don't care how much speed you're going to have on those fresh tires.
Yeah, it's going to be tough with only giving yourself 10 or less laps. Noticing right now, Sean Peachin's back on track. He came back on track in front of Edward Shearer, who had contact with him. Also, before we look at what happens here, well, also while we look at here, Jack Nichols has closed in a second to Sebastian Marin, so that's tightening up as well. It's almost like a race of a 98.
If you've got to pick a place, if you're going to retaliate, a road course is probably the least consequential place to do this, but it doesn't look like he's going to do just that. Patrick Moose catching David Weishart here, and this is a battle for a top 10 spot.
Reese Schaefer left him. Schaefer's all the way across the hill already, and I think Moose can. I don't know if he can catch Reese Schaefer. Schaefer was a second faster last time, so Moose just trying to get this one spot back. As we're starting to see that gap is shrinking between the 32 and 73. Moose is just not quite close enough to make that move, a dive into 7. Not quite close enough for it. Well, Gary Waterman just got by JT Poole for 15, so he caught back up to the 26 and got back by him.
If something tells me I don't think this battle's completely over yet. I think JT is getting frustrated. Gary seems a little quicker, but they're both on the exact same tires. So it's going to come down to who's executing better, and Gary has a big wobble. Here comes JT.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think Gary's faster than the 26, but he keeps making mistakes, so it doesn't matter, and I don't think anyone walking behind you will help either.
or Bryce Senesac, for that matter. He's also in this mix.
Yeah, he's closed in on it because of all this. Shear's a little further behind as well. Poole, big dive, late dive. The two kind of gave him room at the last second, but they're not going to be able to make the pass work there. And right now, the battle for the lead's heating up. Michael Venable just went way wide in turn number 4, and that's going to let the 32 by, but he lost a lot more time to Jake Nichols.
Yeah, that was a really big oops for Venable. Ran way out wide, and that will give up the lead. So I don't really know what the strategy is now unless he's trying to make it to the end, but now that didn't work either.
That's the only thing I could think of. It's just a little, like lap 30 should be where he pits. Senesac just got into JT Poole in the hairpin. But yeah, I would think he's got to pit here. This next lap, yeah, see JT's frustrated. He's getting really no respect right now. He's getting used up as Shear's going to be the next one to line him up.
Yeah, this has been pretty fascinating back here.
Hand up in frustration. That's a telltale sign, or universal sign of what the hell.
Yeah.
And it's kind of affecting his driving too. You can see how much the rears are sliding.
It just knocks you out of your rhythm emotionally too, not even just physically, but you know, you're kind of dialed in, and all of a sudden you get booted up out of the way, not once but twice. And so he'll continue battling 17th. That Scherer Jr. is right behind him. The Trey Eitzen, Rafe Slate, all back there in a battle for position. Up front, there is a half second between Marin and Nichols. Will take you there if it gets any more fierce. Nichols has 1 lap fresher tires. I don't know that that's going to matter. I think it's going to come down to who's driving better in the tailing 8 or 9 laps of this race.
I didn't think it would matter, but it is interesting how Nichols was able to close up, because he was maybe a little shrapnel off the 25, but he was like 2 seconds off when Marin pit, and Marin beat him to pit road. And Marin didn't really gain as much from that undercut, and the 73 has chased him right back down.
Well, going back to remember what I said when Marin came out of the pit lane, he ran a mid-19 a couple laps after his leaving the box. He didn't have a very efficient few laps after that. Right now, they're kind of relatively matched up. Saw the bird get thrown up by JT Poole. I wonder what that's all about. Probably has something to do with this.
Oh, you see that once again? He's just getting booted.
Yeah.
Shearer, I mean, it's kind of there, but it was a little deep. But that's 3 drivers who have used them up.
Yeah.
And if Whiteson crosses him, he might be the one getting a lot of contact because of it.
Might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. But the thing is, for JT, he's got to get his elbows out. If you're going to get raced like that, this is a road course. This is what this is for. It's not for Charlotte when you got 30 cars behind you. You want to dish something out, you can do it here. There's gravel traps and grass for ages. You just have to make it look like an accident so you don't have to serve an EOL.
whether it's an accident or not, you still get penalty points for causing incidents. So you can't really get away with it.
Make it look like his fault.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, that looks like Eitzen almost got alongside him there. That's going to slow him up, let Rafe Slate maybe have a run, but you can't make the move here. Side-by-side kills your run. So he knows he has to wait, but he's frustrated because Eitzen's messing up the S's a little bit.
Whoa,
he's
Rafe
really
Slate.
missed the corner. As I say that, he misses the corner. He's out of that battle for now. Battle for third, or what will cycle to be third, maybe heating up. Ricky Springer, Seth Knoll. Knoll's caught back up to the 51, having to pass him once again.
Now, Shea-T is just, there's lots of excitement around that 26 truck right now. Eitzen thunder-footed into turn 11 and almost got into the back of him. So this is the battle you were mentioning, Springer and Knoll. Batby and John Hall are fighting as well. And look at Hall, he's going to send it from a ways back here, I think, on Batby. Opens the door, Batby's going to leave him space.
Yeah, he didn't even really go in there trying to get alongside. He just kind of, well, I mean, he did, but he wasn't really trying to get alongside there as Eitzen makes the pass at the top of the hill. I wonder if there was more contact, but he was just poking a nose, trying to get the driver in front of him off his game. That's exactly what he did. JT Poole is just fading here.
Oh, and he got kind of cut off there in the braking zone, but this is what I was mentioning, right? If you want it, I mean, drivers are going to sense this. And what I mean by this is this would, we watch this from high above. Traditionally, I would consider this a block on the 8. Again, there was no rule against this in stock cars, but he changes lanes in the braking zone.
They don't, yeah.
That is how you get punted, but that's a self-policing policy in stock cars. So.
Ooh, how about this crossover? Drew Trader's just going to go to a dirt to let them by, which I'm sure he doesn't want to, but it's a smart move as Jake Nichols has just gotten by James Shanewoolf. No cars in between those two, but still not quite close enough to battle yet. But you can see Knoll trying to get the exit off that corner, just wasn't able to get alongside the 51. As Nichols is staying there, but he's still not getting close enough to make that position. And they're not too far away from coming up on this battle of JT Poole.
Yeah, I think you're right about it. Someone's going to breathe the straw that breaks the camel's back here.
He just said it with the radio. Wyland said he owes JT one. JT said, if you owe me one, then the 7 trucks in front of you owe me one.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, it's just, this is the emotions of the intensity that we've got in battles like these. Seth Knoll still working over Ricky Springer. 2-lap tire advantage for the #1 truck that we ride on board with.
That will start to think, Michael Venable. He has to be trying to make it to the end. He's got 5 more laps to do it.
Yeah, I think, whoa, look at Ricky Springer.
Oh, look out. That's going to be Seth Knoll's opportunity here, but Springer got a good enough run where he can maybe fend this off, but Knoll's going to go for it in 4. This is a tight place to be side by side. Springer's going to go a little off track, but I think Knoll's got him where he wants him now.
Yeah, he does. He's just going to be able to complete this pass on the inside at 7. Maybe Ricky can try to cross him over, but Knoll's going to cover it off beautifully. And that was well read by the 1, and he's through to 4th. And I think you're right about Venable trying to make it. I don't see that there's any reason that you'd wait this long to pit under normal circumstances.
Yeah, I would think so as well. He's, in fairness, he has a lot of time to make this work. He's got, what, 7 seconds to the 51, or only closer to 8, actually. So he has room to back it up if he wants, and he might be able to get away with this.
Right, Senesac in a battle back here with Waterworth and Scherer Jr. for 17th. Got fierce for a moment. And Travis Beckner.
Oh, James Shanewoolf and Julian Valadez just had more contact at the top of the hill. 69 Peachin's off as well, but that's unrelated. They came together earlier at the top of the hill, did they not?
You're right. It was the 83 on the back of the 57, and that time that was
came over.
Yeah, it looked like there was a little bit more testosterone involved in that one, I think.
Also didn't work, really.
No.
He kind of pinched him to the racing line. He did, I would say. A lot of traffic in front of Sebastian Marin, and Jake Nichols is right there because of it.
Here we go, battle for the lead. 5 laps to go at Sonoma, and now it is a chess match, and you got to make your moves 3, 4 corners ahead. Plan and plot your path, and try to guesstimate where the other trucks are going to go. Jake Nichols has got the 32 in the crosshairs.
Wygen's really slowing up the 32 here. This is going to be Jake Nichols' opportunity. JT Poole's in front of it as well, but Nichols has no room to make the move because they're going to be 3 wide.
on the brakes here into turn 11. JT is going to leave a wide berth, so will Wygen. Now that they have a place to go, they will do it. But as Greg Kramer always says, you can't hit the disappear button. You can't just not exist. Now that they're through, Marin reestablishes a 4/10 of a second advantage.
That was Nichols' opportunity, but they got too congested into 11. He had no lane to make it work as Springer and Hall will swap positions here. He just didn't have any positioning to do it. Reese Schaefer is on the back bumper of Travis Beckner for about the 8th position at the same time. I'm still trying to see if Shane Wolf gets back to Valadez as well, but he hasn't quite yet.
Yeah, Schaefer has caught Beckner. I think that's going to be a fight to watch. And Nichols is not far off of Marin. It did kind of net close this gap, and there's still plenty of traffic to contend with.
Ooh,
and Nichols got a great run.
No, not quite. He got loose off the curbing. He's not close enough to have a legitimate dive, and Jake Nichols won't make that dive if he's not close enough. He's not that type of driver. But it depends on what Trey Eitzen does. 20th position, lead lap, Weiland and Slate not too far ahead. If these drivers don't want to give way and let them by, because they kind of have no reason to, although they should, they don't let the 32 by. That's Jake Nichols' opportunity.
Everybody signed up to use the same racetrack, but it's that gentleman's agreement of I'm not going to interfere with a battle for the lead, or will you? Morals aren't in the rule book, Connor.
He might be close enough to at least try it here. Trey Eitzen gives way. Smart move there, but there's battling for 18th up ahead. Wineland just got by Rave Slade, or at least held him off for another lap. And Nichols still not close enough to make that move, as JT Poole and Wygen are battling right in front of Shane Wolf and Valadez, who might not be done. And Michael Venable has still got 8 seconds on Seth Knoll.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that these two are totally wrapped up yet.
A lot of action.
Tons of action.
Oh
boy.
Miller's in the middle of it. I don't think they had contact earlier. Miller just trying to get out of the way, I think.
Marin leads by half a second with 3 laps to go. Here comes Schaefer on Beckner. He's got Beckner's hands full right now.
Gonna try his hardest, but not quite close enough to be alongside. Oh, Beckner kind of offline. Schaefer showed the nose, trying to get Beckner offline. Kind of worked, but Beckner got the better run. And Miller had a slide at the top of the hill, but no harm, no foul.
The 83 is...
Actually, there might have been foul with him and Miller. I think they might have came together a little bit.
Here's the tail end of it, going down into turn 4. And he's just driving with a red mist right now. What? I mean, Miller turned in miles early, too. That was just never going to work.
I don't know if he even expected him to be there. As Nichols, here goes Rafe Slate. 32 got the Rafe Slates inside. Slate had no choice but to let him by. Once again, it's another lap car, another opportunity for Nichols gone.
Yeah, 2 laps to go this time, and Nichols is running out of opportunities. Sebastian Marin has played this race very well.
John Hall's gotten to Seth Knoll as well for the 4th position.
That's a great drive for John Hall.
Yeah, with an EOL, a top 5, he would take that any day of the week. I'm really impressed with Venable. I don't know how much fuel he's had to save. I guess it is about 5 laps. If that's the case, that's incredible.
Marin gets through turn 4 so well. Worked out nicely for him. Gains another 1/10 or 2 of a second. Jake Nichols leads the championship standings. He has not won a race yet this season. Marin has won 2. And both of those came over Jake Nichols, I believe. Were they not?
He beat John Hall in a photo finish at Charlotte.
It's John Hall.
And he was able to...
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he beat John Hall at Charlotte. Marin did.
Yeah.
Last week, Yurashak's incident kind of took Yurashak out of it, and Sebastian Marin was able to dominate that one. Jake Nichols will probably only have 2 more shots after this corner. He's not close enough left yet. And Eric Weiland, we'll see if he decides to move or not in this final lap.
Well, white flag is in the air for the leading trucks all the way on the other side of the racetrack. Reese Schaefer and Travis Beckner are still going at it here. Beckner had a big slide, so did Schaefer. That'll come down to the wire as well, as the front 2 have traffic at least one more time.
We'll see what happens. Jake Nichols has not been able to close in the passing zones where he needs to. He got so close because of lap traffic, but since then has not been able to keep the pace. He's lighting up the rear tires after each corner. Marin a little slower through, a little more cautious through 4, but Nichols kind of slid. Yeah,
he slid really big through turn 4, just chucking everything he could at it. Marin didn't get to the inside of the 21, and if he gets held up here in the S's, the 21 gentlemanly moves out of the way. That's not what Nichols wanted to see, though.
No, it was a little late, but he at least did it. Now Jake Nichols is going to have to muster up something in these S's to make it happen and have one last chance into 11, as Reese Schaefer might have to do the same on Travis Beckner.
Yeah, they're running out of laps. Sebastian Marin looking for his third win of the season here at Sonoma. Sat on the pole, played the strategy to perfection, and through traffic trials and tribulations, this 32 truck has done it again. Not enough for Jake Nichols. Sebastian Marin, for the third time in Season 6 in the Area Truck Series, he wins, this time in Sonoma, California.
And he just held on with Jake Nichols breathing down his neck. That was impressive. Here comes Bappy all over the curb trying to get Ricky Springer. Venable will make it on fuel. He's going for a big dive. No way that works. He's actually going to get into the corner. I thought he was completely going to miss it, but Springer's going to hold on. Even back here, Beckner, Schaefer. Schaefer's trying to cross over, maybe out of the corner. That's not going to work, but Beckner lit him up, but so did Schaefer.
Oh, crash.
Shane Wolf and Miller. They had more contact.
On the front straightaway, and the 30 truck is up on the wall.
He's not going to finish.
And he'll be, well, he was 11 laps down anyway, so it wasn't catastrophic.
He's trying.
But some drama at the end. Beckner and Schaefer, 72 thousandths of a second between those two. Let's go back and have a look at that as they came to the stripe. Beckner, he had a huge slide up leaving the corner.
But you know what happens? He's still lighting him up. He never got the grip under him. And Schaefer almost got him at the line, but not quite close enough.
Wow. And then this happened here between the 30 and the 83.
Just
Man,
came wide.
I'll tell you what. You know, when you look at iRacing's incident system, it is a no-fault system, but it definitely makes note of drivers that are consistently in incidents. And man, tonight, I'll tell you, there are some drivers that have consistently been in things.
One ends up on the wall. I think Miller's trying to let the battle by. Shane Wolf kind of lit up the tires and kind of straight lined right into Miller. I'm not sure why they're beefing. Not even close to on the same lap.
Yeah, that's an unlikely beef, I'd say.
I would say so.
But anyways, Sebastian Marin, what a job he did this race, and in the traffic and all the chaos, just drove a great race. And it didn't, you know, when he came out of the pit lane, gonna go for a slide here. When he came out of the pit lane, he wasn't really running all that quick, but he was able to recover and then drive defensively and just really never once make a significant mistake. And that's what this has come down to. Perfection, maybe not the word, but better than everybody else, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was just being controlled in the second run to let the 73 catch him. But I think he knew that he had enough pace left in the tank to get through there and still take the victory. Seth Knowles going to do burnouts celebrating fourth place, but it was just a controlled drive from Marin. He had the clean air at the very beginning, so he really didn't need to do anything too crazy. He had the pace, and he was able to maintain that.
Sebastian Marin's going to celebrate here on the front straightaway, and Michael Venable, 40 laps on one tank of fuel and one set of tires.
Yeah, that's an incredible drive from him to make it, to save that much time. Had he had a better Q effort and was doing a little better at the early portion of the run, maybe he could have been a little closer to the front in the battle for the race win, but who knows how long he had to be saving to make that work.
Let's have a look at our race results. Sebastian Marin, as we've said, goes for his third victory on the season. Jake Nichols, job well done, nice strong effort, but as we've said just now, Michael Venable making those droplets of fuel last all the way to the end. Seth Knoll, P4. John Hall from the back of the field to fifth. Ricky Springer, nice sixth place finish. Matthew Bappy, Beckner from the tail up to eighth. Reese Schaefer, Patrick Moose. All four of those trucks involved in a pretty fun fight tonight, Connor.
Yeah, very fun fight for all those guys. Another EOL driver getting through the field was Joshua Balliet. He got the 12th, returning from suspension. Weishart 11th. He was one of the drivers who pit at the earliest, and he still held on for a decent finish. Cameron Hearn, 14th. Shear, he might have caused another incident, but he had a drive-through and came to 15th. That's a great run for him. To stay on the lead lap even with a drive-through is impressive. Senesek and Waterworth had a good battle at the end, or 16th, and then Wineland, Slate, Eitzen just inside the top 20, and at the somewhere in that 23rd range, JT Poole, he had it from everyone tonight.
Yeah, frustrating end for JT, I think. He got used up a little bit, but was never really able to jump back on the horse after getting shuffled out of the way, and I think that contributed as well. Down the order, some drivers that didn't have great days. We saw Jonathan Evans, Lucas Strayer go for some rides earlier through the dirt, through the grass. And then some drivers that got themselves in a couple of predicaments. James Shainwolf, Jeremy Miller, just to name a few. Brad Slaughter with that big crash out of turn 4. And then the big one that we saw early between Mason Kane in the fence. He ended up in the wall pretty hard, and of course Jeremy Brown did not start this race. So that's your look at your race results. Let's talk to your third place finisher, Michael Venable, who made the tank of fuel last all 40 laps. I don't know how you did it. How close was it? Because it had to have been very.
I was sputtering at the line.
I mean, that is just unbelievable. And this race was lengthened to hopefully avoid everyone having to do that. But did you plan this from the start, or was this something that you kind of fell into based on where you were in the race?
I kind of, from where I queued, I wanted to try it and hope that it worked. And sure enough, it did. I had to, I was pretty much running the whole track in third gear, and at the bottom of the S's, I was running fourth, trying to save as much as I could.
And it's in that shot there, also making the track as short as possible as well. But, I mean, this is a great run for you. You started P10, ended up third. I mean, this is obviously going to contribute to the strong season that you've had so far. This will be your 5th top 10 and 4th top 5 of the season. But no wins in the win column yet. Where do you think you can grab some of those to get yourself locked into those playoffs?
I don't know if I'm going to be able to win before the playoffs is the problem. I really like the tracks that are in the playoffs, though, so I got that going.
Well, it sounds like you just need the confidence that you can win. Yes. As much as you had in your fuel tank tonight. You might be there already. But, Michael, congratulations. A solid top 5 run in that number 95 Elite truck. Job well done. And, man, that is about the most efficient driving I've ever seen in a pushrod V8. Nice work.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You as well. And Jake Nichols comes home in 2nd place tonight. And, Jake, still no wins yet this season, but, man, the finishes have just been coming and coming and coming. Your 4th top 5, your 5th top 10, just not quite enough for Sebastian Marin. Even with the traffic playing as a factor in the end there, what you need to get by that 32?
A little more rear grip. Tonight was a win for me personally. I mean, I haven't really figured out the truck yet. We've been fast occasionally on certain runs, but not consistently at other tracks. And tonight I ran 1 practice lap last night after the Cup race just to see what it felt like. And I didn't think I would run that good. I felt like I was going to be 5th to 10th at best. Maybe like, just because of EOLs at the start, maybe top 5 pretty easy then, just because you did have some really fast guys starting the back. But once we got to the green and I got clear for 2nd, it hooked up and it felt good. And I was really surprised that I kept with them, and it hit a few laps where I'd gain a lot, and then I kind of stall out rears, had to cool down the rears again. But I don't know, I was surprised he undercut, or I was literally going to pit that lap and undercut him, but then he pitted first, so I was like, okay, just play it simple, save rear tires, and hope we had a shot. And we had 1 chance there, turn 10, but he just got a good enough run, and I think if it was 1 truck in front of him, not 2, I may have been able to make a different move. But either way, Sebastian was fast. I mean, we were obviously the fast 2 trucks in the race there, so we'll take it and move on. It's disappointing to not win, but I mean, we'll take a 2nd on a track I didn't expect to finish top 3. So I mean, we'll take it going forward here.
Well, the Cup Series and the Pro Series race on another road course this season, but the Truck Series heads to Knoxville, and we're racing on the dirt. How do you feel about that as kind of another wild card coming up on the calendar?
I'm usually pretty good on dirt. I mean, I used to be really good on it, but I kind of haven't done it in a while consistently. So hopefully we'll show up with a lot of pace with our 609 trucks and have a shot to win there. That'd be fun. It should be a good race, hopefully. I would think we're going to have a show. Like, it's a wide track, so there's a lot of room, you know. We should be able to put a good show on, maybe 2-3 wide racing. And I wish it was another road course, because I didn't think I'd be that fast. But either way, we'll take it and hopefully show up at the dirt track in a little while and have a shot there.
Jake Nichols in the 73, 2nd tonight at Sonoma. Thanks, Jake.
Thank you.
And Sebastian Marin comes home for his 3rd win of the season, and on the only road course this season that we've got on the calendar for the Truck Series, you take it home in a fairly dominant fashion tonight. Sebastian led 28 of the 40 laps, and Really, it was just the fuel and tire strategy that took you out of the lead for those other ones. But it was close there at the end with the traffic. Take us through that battle there in the last 10 laps.
Yeah, that last stint was cutting it quite close. I think I didn't want to get undercutted by Jake because I felt like if he had the lead, I would have been stuck second just like he was. So I knew him having a lap fresher tires was going to come into play later in the run, which it did. And then me being the leader, I was the first car through traffic, so I felt like I was always slowed down more than Jake because they would, I would have to kind of show my nose, and then they would let me by, and then they would see Jake right behind me, so I had to alter my line to show the nose, so they would give it to me while Jake could just run the normal line and close in. It got a little hairy there, one of those few laps where we all got bunched up, but luckily managed to get a gap there at the end, and yeah, that was a little too close for comfort, but I'll take it. The road courses are definitely not my strong suit, so to be honest, pleasantly surprised of this performance. So yeah, I'll call it a very successful night.
Yeah, super successful night and a very successful season so far. Congratulations on your third win of the year, top seed of the playoffs as it stands, and it's going to be hard to match that. Thanks for chatting with us, and we'll see you next time. Yes,
sir. Thank you. Have a good night.
You as well. All right, Connor, fun night. Man, Sonoma, not one of my favorite road courses to look at in iRacing. They rescanned it when I was there for SRO earlier in the spring, so excited for that to come in coming months, but I don't like looking at it, but man, it has put on a good show so far this week, and we still have another good show later this week with the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series.
Yeah, Pro Series should be interesting. I think you're going to see maybe even more slip and sliding because you should have less downforce in those cars than we do in the trucks tonight. So that should be interesting, especially if the temperatures are cranked up high once again. But what a run Sebastian Marin's on. At least from what I can see, looking back at the history of the Area Truck Series, no one's ever won 3 in a row. I believe he just did something no one's ever done, not even Scioli when he ran the Truck Series. So he's been on a dominant run so far, and it's not like he's fluking into him. He's pretty much dominated the last 2 races. Obviously, he had the photo finish at Charlotte, but he had top 2 speed there. He's on a dominant run. He's definitely forced his way into the running of being one of the top drivers in the area.
Well, we'll see how things play out when we head to the next round. And of course, we've got the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series right here on Thursday. But next week, we head to North Wilkesboro for some short track racing before Darlington, Knoxville, Chicagoland, Rockingham, and Talladega to wrap up our regular season. We'll see you next time right here on Sim TV.